This is Rising Phoenix Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Rhodes. This podcast is for men struggling with an unwanted divorce. I interview experts on divorce, mental health, and I provide insights gained from my own divorce journey. You are not alone. Join me. Hello and welcome to the show. This is episode 197. It's another solo one, so let's jump into these new locations. First on the list, Brandon, Manitoba. You listen to episode 4. Always cool when it's an old one like that. I'd love to know how you found the podcast, what led you to listen to that one. Um, I'm sure you probably were looking for legal advice, but just curious. That was recorded a very, very long time ago, or at least it feels that way. Next up, Waterville, Maine. You listened to 196, which was the latest one. I enjoyed that one. He was a really good guy. Oh boy, okay. I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this one. Episode 159 is what you listen to. Oh boy. Hofnorf Jodor? This has got to be Swedish. I'm just gonna stop there because the rest of it is I don't know how the fuck you say that. I don't even want to spell it. It's too long. Thank you. Um, maybe you can email me proper pronunciation. Last, certainly not least, Petersburg, Michigan. You listened to episode 189. Feels like a lifetime ago that I recorded that one. That was the one where I basically said I'm going on break. So let me cover a couple, I guess, sort of housekeeping things. I guess it's only really one. Um, I have been struggling to figure out when to release YouTube episodes, and it seems to be the most effective is Saturday morning. So that's what I'm going to do going forward. It seems to get the most listens within a week's time, which is not a lot, to be honest with you. The the numbers I do audio and places like Apple and Spotify and all the other places are so much more than the YouTube views, which is fine. It would be nice to someday be able to make money on YouTube, but I don't see that happening. And that is what it is. I get emails all the time from folks and Instagram messages that want to help me with my keywords and I should change the titles and nah, I'm good. So um yeah, I've decided to just release them Saturday mornings. It seems to be the best time frame. So if you're looking for it like the next day or the same day, I used to do that, but I could never get any kind of listens almost. So I'm gonna go Saturday morning. I guess there's one other thing I do want to mention and sort of why. So this episode is going to be around building a community, the importance of building it or creating it or whatever. And this is very relevant to my life because I just last week I traveled for work. I went out to California, spent some time in Los Angeles, and got to meet for the first time Albert. Shout out to Albert for spending the afternoon and the evening with me. I've known Albert for I think 4 years now, and I would say probably over the last year and a half, 2 years, maybe we've gotten pretty close. He's just been uh, a rock, a sounding board. He's a great human being. He's so fucking smart, and he would probably be a fucking excellent podcast host, to be quite honest with you. He asks really great questions. He's very insightful. I got to meet his son, one of his sons that was, we went up to meet him at his college, and it was just it, it's why building a community of people is so fucking important. I have been, by the way, thank you to a few of you that reached out uh, after my last solo one and said, "Hey, man, well, I hear how tired you are, and we appreciate you. I appreciate you, and thank you for that. I do appreciate it. I am fucking tired, and I made that trip to California, and it recharged me, man. I was feeling good. I had some great work meetings. So it was a work trip, but I was able to meet Albert as well, and being around him and spending time with him and and obviously California is a beautiful fucking place. I was I was feeling pretty damn good. And then I got home and today in particular I'm just feeling very low energy. And so I'm going to try and make some changes in my life, but the reason I'm bringing this up, one is to talk about the trip a little bit and just acknowledge Albert and the importance he has in my life and how much he means to me and how much I appreciate him. But it's also tied into um, the importance of building a community. If I wouldn't have, obviously the Facebook group is one thing that I've done that has allowed for the building of community, but the Discord server, that's where him and I have had a lot of interaction until we really started communicating via text and stuff and phone calls. And again, he's so fucking smart, and so any kind of business idea or well, not even business, but just podcast ideas, I bounce them off him. And none of that would have happened if I wouldn't have made the effort to build the community. If I would just put this podcast out and hope that it helps, I mean, that would be great, but like, it's not just my insights and knowledge. It's not just the expertise and information from experts. It's also about the hope that a community can be built. And obviously, I've tried this in various ways, and local groups didn't work. But the Discord is an excellent community of men. But before I sort of dive into the building a community and some practical things and steps and knowledge and things that I've done and things of that nature, I do want to say that I am fucking tired, and but rather than just continuing to complain about it, I'm going to try to make some changes in my life. And they're not huge changes, but things that, after sort of being tired of being tired, I started looking into and something as simple as making sure I'm hydrated. I definitely do not focus on drinking water every day. And so I'm going to try to change that. And notice I said try because I don't want to make a big proclamation that I'm going to do this and then I don't, and then I shame myself. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to make sure I'm hydrated. I'm going to try. The one of my biggest struggles in life has always been sleep, my sleep schedule, my sleep habits. I'm a night owl. It doesn't compute with the real world oftentimes, especially when I have to get the girls up for school and all that kind of good shit. But so I am actually recording this a lot earlier than normal. It's almost 8 o'clock Eastern time. My girls are here. It is Monday, but my oldest, who now has her license, is not home because she doesn't have to be anymore. She has that freedom. And my little one is about to ready to take a shower. So I figured while they're occupied and doing their things, I can come down here, record an episode, so I'm not up so late. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And I'm going to try and be more deliberate about planning my days out too. I got in the habit of doing that. I talked about that in an episode. I don't remember which one, but I kind of got out of the habit. And it's for sure my exhaustion. Some of these things I hope will help, but my exhaustion for sure comes from my fucking job. It's just overwhelming. Sometimes it is fun traveling and meeting people is cool, but it's a very stressful, difficult job, I feel like. And that's probably not going to change anytime soon. In terms of it being stressful, I don't want to change jobs. I've done probably a bit more of that than I would like in my career. So I'm going to stick where I'm at, but um, I'm hopeful that I can make some of these other changes and that will allow for just me to be in an overall better headspace and have more energy. Actually, I'm gonna start. I don't typically eat breakfast. Not typically. I don't eat breakfast. I don't necessarily try to do the intermittent fasting because I have coffee and I put probably more cream than I should in the fucking coffee. I don't like dark coffee. I don't like black coffee. No, thank you. But I'm gonna try and start eating a small breakfast, just oatmeal with some fruit and some almonds. Just again doing research and maybe trying this will also um, provide me some energy throughout the day because I am just tired. So, and I don't want to be. What do they say? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of being tired. That's for fucking sure. So hopefully these things will help. And also, I'm expressing that in the Discord and leaning on the group. So let's talk about that. Why is it important? Why is it difficult? I mean, it's all kinds of avenues to explore with this topic, but I know for many of us men, I'm for sure guilty of this. I like to, I don't like to ask for help always. I like to do it alone, to go it alone. Like I do my own thing. Like I got this. I'll figure it out. Those kinds of things. I think is just second nature to us men. Then I think it's in the realm of like, you know, ignoring your emotions or trying not to have emotions or whatever. I think it's sort of in that realm somewhere, twisted up. And if we have to ask for help, that's vulnerable. And if we're vulnerable, then we have feelings, and we don't have fucking feelings. We don't want feelings. So I think it's all wrapped up and tied up in there. But the truth is, anything you face in life, any challenge, I always try to think of these things as sort of analogies or like, different ways to think about it. And I always quite often come back to sports. I didn't play a lot of sports when I was younger. Well, when I was really little, I did. I played baseball. And as I got older, I started playing basketball. I played just a little bit of football. My mom was like, "You're gonna get hurt." She wouldn't let me play, but I did play a little bit. But my parents were just my dad was never around just because he was a truck driver, and so he couldn't be sort of forceful about making sure I'm enrolled or involved in these activities. And my mom was just not supportive of it for various reasons. And I don't know all the reasons. Had to ask her, but um, but when I think about things, I always sort of tie it back to sports. And if you think about an injury, if you sustain an injury, and I always sort of think about NFL players mostly because that's the main sport that I watch. It's enough games that I can keep track. There's too many fucking games of basketball and baseball. I just can't. I'll watch playoff stuff and I'll watch it. I'll go to a game. I love going to a baseball game, but I always think about NFL typically when I think about sports. So somebody like Jalen Hurts or Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. He's going to have the best doctors, the best people involved to help and get him right. And he's not going to go it alone. So guys that make millions of dollars for playing a game aren't going to go it alone, are going to spare no expense to get themselves right. They're not going to turn away help. Then why should we? Now, obviously, this isn't apples to apples. Your mental health and your physical health aren't exactly the same, but they're pretty fucking similar. And I got to imagine there's probably a whole host of NFL players or any major sports players that go to see a therapist. I would bet money that a lot of them do because not only the pressure of performing, but just being a star and being famous and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure that they would benefit greatly from therapy. So I understand the tendency to go it alone. I feel it. I felt it. It's still something that on occasion I have to check myself with. But the truth is when you're going through a divorce, there are so many facets. So if you think you can handle the mental aspect of it, don't forget all the other shit, the legal stuff, the financial, living. Like there's so many factors that you can't possibly keep it all under wraps. It's just not fucking possible. Not if you're going to do it in a way that doesn't get you fucked in the long run. So seeking out a lawyer obviously is a smart thing to do. And I don't think financial or legal issues are any less important than mental issues or mental challenges, mental health challenges. So if you're going to speak to a lawyer, speak to a therapist. So if we keep going down this sort of theme of like seeking support from others to get help with certain things, then you're going to need friends, your people, because a therapist is great and they're going to be the independent sort of third party that sees things without bias that your friends or family wouldn't, but they don't live in your life. They don't know every single, I mean, my therapist knows a lot of shit, but there's still things that they're not, that I don't hang out with them, right? I see my therapist once a week, or 1 hour every 2 weeks, so twice a month. So she's not intimately involved in my life. I mean, she knows a lot of details, but again, we're not hanging out, we're not having dinner, we're not going to have drinks. So you need someone other than professionals. You need support, and some of that support is different and can be nuanced. Like things like emotional regulation. In other words, when you have, especially in the beginning, and you have shit that you want to get off your chest, yes, a therapist is good for that, for sure, absolutely, positively. But they're not always readily available, right? I know there are some apps that are a little different in their structure in terms of how you can connect with a therapist, but I don't know how effective they are, and I don't know if they're. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the model there, but the typical standard therapist client model is 1 hour, maybe a week. I know sometimes you can double up and get 2 hours a week, but it's not the same as having your buddy Mike down the road. Not me. I really do have a friend, Mike, who lives down the road. That was very important to me in my journey. He is a guy who'd never been through a divorce, but he was a great friend who listened. He would just sometimes complain with me because he knew my ex-wife, and fuck that bitch. Yeah, fuck her. I mean, he would support me in that way. Um, and so those kinds of friends are invaluable and important. And then also that you have the friends, hopefully, this could be the tricky one, I think, but friends that are accountable. And this is something that you will see in places like the Discord server, where if someone's fucking, I don't want to say fucking up, if someone's seeing things in a way that isn't helpful to them, then we can redirect them and help them see it in a way that is, in other words, hold them accountable potentially, right? If they're arguing with their ex and that's all they're doing, it's we can hold them accountable and say, well, listen, you're focusing on something that is outside of your control. You're remaining entangled and meshed with this person. You need to stop that. Limit your contact and your conversations around the children only. So those kind of people are really important as well. A good friend or a person that has been through what you have been through are invaluable in times like divorce. Um, and the more the merrier, because one of the things I think that can happen is if you limit your, and I'm not saying you have to have a huge circle here of like 1,000 friends, but if you limit, particularly the emotional dumping one, if you limit that to one or two people, I don't give a fuck who they are unless they're a saint. And Mike never complained or anything, but like it, that's got to take a toll. Like I don't know how the fuck therapists do it, to be honest with you. But I mean, some people wonder how I do it, but it's a different dynamic. But it's good to be able to spread that. That's why we have meetings in the Discord. That's so you're not talking to just one person. You can sort of spread out that emotional pain in a way and give it to not just one person all the time, but to many people. And also, the more people you have, the more views you can get. I mean, there are some universal truths, like I was saying earlier, like only talk about the kids if you have kids with an ex. Stop discussing whatever, right? And so if you have more than one, you can get different opinions, you can get different viewpoints, and just different support because everyone is different. And when you're going through this, man, you need all the fucking support you can get. And there might be people that are um not just the emotional aspect, but and this one can get a little tricky, but in terms of legal shit, if you got a guy that is in the same state as you and has the same story as you, he's going to be able to give you at least some kind of pointers. Obviously, check with the lawyer and all that kind of good stuff, but there another avenue that if you don't always have to fucking call the lawyer and spend the whatever the fuck they make an hour, then that's going to save you in the long run. Like literally, financially. So it's not just the emotional support, although that obviously is my focus and is sort of the big one, but it's more than just that. It's the legal stuff, parenting. That this is a big one where you're struggling with a certain thing, and could it be behavior? It could be um, trying to figure out make what plans to make with your kids, or sometimes it's good to get someone to check with, like, am I crazy? This happened. Did I mess this up, or was I in the right? It's always good to have these other people, because otherwise you're fucking, I want to say flying blind, but like you're completely dependent on how you see the world, and you can't see every angle. I don't give a fuck how logical you are. I don't care how much of an overthinker you are, and I relate to those things. You can't see every angle. You can't see every nuance to a situation. So I'm not saying you have to have this big circle of friends, but if you have more people to lean on, then the burden is shared, and potentially, I would think, make you feel less like you're bothering someone if you have multiple people to discuss this with. And another group of folks, or another aspect that you can look for, or try to sort of put into your community or your support group, is people that things like cooking, things like the gym, working out. There are obviously some, if you want to know how to get through a divorce, I can probably help you out and give you a lot of nuggets. If you want to know how to maintain a good sleep schedule, don't fucking ask me. I couldn't tell you. I'm trying to figure that shit out myself. So I'm not the resource for that, right? But I'm sure that there is someone else out there. Obviously there is. I mean, and I'm not talking just about like books and experts and stuff, but I'm sure you got a friend who's like, no, I set my bedtime this every night, and I dim the lights, I wear blue blocking glasses, whatever it is. Like, they got a fucking routine, and they wake up feeling refreshed. Talk to that guy, find out, like, what are you doing? How do I do it? Again, the more resources for you, the less, I think, stressed you can be about what you're going through. And the last aspect of this, which is something that's also part of my coaching program, which is going well, by the way. I have one client, and I'm going to keep it that way for a while. Is reaching out to old friends, old contacts. You know as well as I do that we neglect friends when we're in relationships. That's just a fact of fucking life. It would be good if we didn't do that, but we do, and that's a normal thing. I think everybody. I think men do. I don't know about women. I can't speak for them, but I think men for sure we do that. I did that. We spend time with our lady friends. That's what we do. And so there is probably a whole host of folks that you haven't spoken to in a long time, or at least not in a consistent basis, that you could reach out to and just say, hey, I'm going through some shit. Can we hang out? And that adds another person that can help bear the burden of your emotional shitstorm. And you'd be surprised how responsive and caring people from your past can be when you're going through something. I definitely leaned on folks that I didn't spend a lot of time with over the years, and they were very helpful. Again, just a piece of the puzzle. Um, Unfortunately, am not that I'm seeing anyone or with anyone, but some of those people that I did lean on, a lot of those people that I did lean on, you once you get to a certain place, you stop hanging out again. Um, the nature of the beast. And I'm not even with someone, but that's, isolation is an easy thing to fall into. So, but those people can help you through, and hopefully you can maintain. And not everyone that I, started talking to again, that I sort of disconnect from, but more than I would like, but they're there. And if I need someone, I know that at this point, because of the way that it was 6 years ago, which, holy fuck, I can't believe it's been 6 years. Um, Fucking A. They would be there for me again. So I just want to reinforce the importance of this, and I want to challenge you that if you're going through this, to build your community, to reach out to people. It is not weakness. Reaching out for help it's hard to do that. So it's not weak to do it. If it was easy, then I would say, yeah, you're just leaning on everyone and you're not trying to do anything yourself. But that's not the case. This shit it's hard to do that. It's hard to admit you need help. It's hard to reach out to people. And so therefore, it's not weakness if you do it. At least that's how I do it. I think that's all that I got for this one. Again, if you could subscribe, leave reviews, send me money, do all the things that you're supposed to do. You can send me money, and if you do that, you'll be eligible to join our Discord server. It is $5 a month, but it is an excellent tool, and all of these things that were discussed are in there. I don't know that there's no experts per se in terms of I don't have any personal trainers in there, but I'm sure I've got guys that probably go to the gym on a regular basis and could point you in the direction of what to do if you've never been to the gym or don't know what program or anything of that nature. I'm sure someone could help you out with that. Legal, of course, everyone in there has been through it. We try to not give a lot of legal advice just because there are differences in states and circumstances and who knows. I don't have a legal section of the Discord because of that. But you can certainly ask questions to people in there, and I'm sure that they will provide you their insights and their experiences. So get in the Discord. That's all I got. Until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. If you are feeling alone on this journey, please join our Discord server. Becoming a Phoenix is not a solitary act. It is one achieved through community. Our Discord server is just that, a community of men fighting to survive, thrive, and rise from their divorce. Go to risingphoenixpodcast.com/Discord for information on how to join and what is contained in our Discord server. Please join us.